So, welcome to our series Amplify Agile. In our last episode, we talked about what digital transformation is and what triggers the digital transformation. And today, we're going to talk about digital transformation anti-patterns, so kind of the opposite, what blocks digital transformations. But stay tuned. We are also going to talk about how to avoid and resolve these blockers. And I'm so proud to have me again today, Konstantin Popov. Konstantin is Managing Director and Digital Transformation Consultant at Vincerion. Konstantin, welcome.
Thomas, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, my first question for you would be, why should we actually talk about impediments and anti-patterns of digital transformation? I thought most transformations are quite successful. What do you think? What is the usual success rate?
Thomas, you would think so, right? But in reality, and according to Gartner and other sources, about 70% of the transformations fail. And the rest are under-delivering the transformation value.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. So many phases. But why is that? Can you tell us what stands in the way of digital transformations?
There are many different challenges. I think one of the challenges is common anti-patterns. And these are the things that we do due to inexperience, right? Or we are being advised to do this. Some of the examples is we're going to train everyone in Agile before real work begins. You know, how many of us made a mistake of training hundreds of thousands of people just in the name of, hey, you know, we are going to need to become Agile, so we're going to train everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's more like a training on the job or during they are actually working on a project?
I think you want to be able to train the right people at the right time so they can start to with a practical application. If you train your folks in Agile and you don't put them on a Scrum team 12-18 months from now, they will generally forget what you've taught them, right? You want to make people aware, give them formal training, and then give them practical application as soon as you can, so they can solidify their learning.
Very good.
Along the same lines, I think renaming your functional teams into Scrum teams and reclassifying your supervisors into Scrum masters and product owners. The organization largely stays the same, and nothing is really changing.
Yeah, that's a common one. Yeah, very good.
And if that happens, you usually see that we continue to assign work to people, and the Scrum masters and these pseudo Scrum masters and product owners continue to make the decisions for the teams and tell everyone what to do. So that's also another anti-pattern.
Yeah, not very agile, right? Yeah, very good.
And I guess the same thing if you see that people are being assigned to Scrum teams and 10-15%. Reality is that we want to make long-term cohesive teams that are learning together, building together. And the best way to do it, if people are allocated to as close as 100% as possible to the team. In some cases, you will need to assign, maybe an architect to multiple Scrum teams because they advise in certain things, or maybe a Scrum master is facilitating more than one team, but the reality, the team members, you should try to strive to as 100% as possible.
Yeah, perfect. That sounds good.
Also, the transformation approach. You want to make sure that you don't outsource it, that you don't accept the factory line approach. You want to make sure that you give your organization an opportunity to learn, and that is the key, right? So that learning, either success or a failure on these short incremental basis, right? It's extremely important.
Yeah, so also embracing failures and say, okay, what can we learn from that?
Yes, and finally, I think we all know what gets measured gets done. So if you continue to use traditional waterfall-based metrics to measure your progress at the enterprise level, while your the way that you plan and deliver work has changed, and you align yourself with digital and agile, I think it's also a big problem. It's disheartening for the people to build these connectors, to say, or translators, to say, hey, this is the work that we do, Scrum teams, how it, this is how it contributes to these waterfall objectives and metrics. So you do want to educate your senior leadership team for how to pivot and what we need to get, what we need to measure, how we need to measure it, what we need to talk about to ensure that we're measuring the right things, and we see the realistic effort and progress.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Konstantin, for explaining these patterns. I think this is so important because this gives you the chance to identify and then actually avoid these patterns. But let's assume maybe, we did successfully eliminate all these anti-patterns. Are we all good then? Nothing can go wrong? No chance to make any more mistakes?
There are many, Thomas. I think the number one thing for me here would be not taking your culture into the consideration when you're designing a transformation or when you're going through a transformation.
Yeah.
Every organization is different. Every organization has a rich history. It has a personality that has been involved in building that. If you fail to consider that culture and the people from the very beginning, you're going to create resistors.
Yeah.
And at this point, the focus of your transformation effort will be on tending to the needs of the resistors rather than managing real change.
Okay. Yeah.
A lot of these transformations originate in IT. So they are perceived to be IT-centric. Let's take the cloud adoption, cloud first strategy, for example. When you embark on that, you are looking to build a foundational infrastructure. You are automating your infrastructure provisioning, you are automating your workload deployments. When you talk to folks, it's largely like, hey, this IT thing, it does not become an enterprise effort until you start to build cloud native applications or you are, migrating at scale. And the key challenge is within our traditional project planning and delivery system, waterfall-based, cost center centric process, and our funding, performance measurement, delivery, and reporting systems are all tied into this. How can we cut across these siloed organizational processes and and how do we align them to this new paradigm for fixed capacity allocation and integrated initiative like value stream management or digital platforms that we need today? It's also another big hurdle to overcome.
Good. Yeah. So we need to break these silos and collaborate and would include all the enterprise stakeholders that are involved. Very good.
And I think people, right? Every transformation stands on the shoulders of the employees. In order to create lasting adoption, we need to ensure that we enable our workforce, right? Yep. And the key is that the enterprise create an environment where people are not afraid to try out new, different things. They can make a mistake. It's not a mistake, it's a learning opportunity. And the transformation consultants are bringing the required framework for learning and practical application, and all of the people that they need to be able to opt in and do this, right? They need to have this courage, to get this done. If you outsource your transformation, it's all up to the consultants, and you don't build this required capability, it is very difficult to create lasting adoption. So in the military, we used to say, mission first, people always. If you take care of your people, you will be able to create, you will be able to pivot your culture with this new learning, with this new digital paradigm, and create lasting change.
Yeah, good, great, thank you. So not taking in account the culture and not engaging all the stakeholders and not taking care of the people and the capability development are indeed severe impediments. That's so true. How would you say then can we actually be successful in our digital transformation journey? What would you suggest organizations to do?
Thomas, in my experience, it is important to look for trusted advisors, people that can help you orchestrate the process. Try to avoid the academic coaches that, framework says, right? When in doubt, just think about what framework says. Definitely make sure that you are taking your culture into the consideration, the structure, the people, the personalities involved. And that should help you to orchestrate your transformation or your change management effort. Charter your own course. People that tell you that, hey, listen, I've tried this in a Fortune 5 company and we were successful. Again, something that had been successful somewhere else, it is great, right? It talks to your ability to drive this change. But at the end of the day, every transformation is unique, and you need to consider the environmental factors first and foremost. Charter your own course, don't outsource it, make it your own as much as possible.
Yeah, so you can grab some ideas, but then make it your own and adjust it to the company.
Yes. You also want to find for a place to start that is less than perfect and less than certain. And what I mean by that, if you invest all of your time into identifying a perfect opportunity to start, you have invested so much time into planning, analyzing, developing this. So in reality, you're taking a very waterfallish approach to this effort. Identifying a place to start that, that can feel, is like, I'm not really sure it's the right place to start. And starting to learn from that, and then delivering or over-delivering on the commitments that you're making will help you establish trust with your stakeholders and will help to make the transformation viral. People will want to participate in something that is successful.
Okay, yeah. So you're saying not including the rolling it out to the entire organization, but starting in one department or area, or what would be what you say about what would be a right place to start?
I think the entry point can be anywhere, can even be in IT, but the sooner you will find a way to engage all of your enterprise stakeholders, the more successful your transformation is going to be. And I believe that enterprise lean portfolio management practice is a very good place to bring in stakeholders outside of the IT organization or outside of that digital effort to the table and start to get to align on why is a common work and take process is important? What is our common taxonomy? What is our common teaming approach? And we can make these small decisions collectively. And over time, we'll make a number of decisions and we'll establish a team and the trust, that will help us drive this large scale organizational change.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Anything
and
else?
Lastly, I'm going to say it again. You have to take care of your people. If you fail to address fear in your organization, it will be extremely challenging. And fear is everywhere. If we are talking about, let's say, cloud adoption again, right? What happens to our infrastructure assets analysts? What happens to data centers and all the people that are working in it? If we are automating our deployment of workloads into the cloud, what happens to all of the people that are working in release management, right? So we have to ensure that we align our people on what are we doing, why are we doing this, and what their role will be in it.
Thank you so much, Konstantin. This is very, very valuable input. I think like looking for advisors and avoiding those academic approaches, grabbing the ideas, making it your own ones, engaging the relevant stakeholders and taking care of people. Very good. So finally, what would be your key takeaway for our participants?
Thomas, I was very fortunate to attend a town hall with Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. And one of the things that he said resonated with me greatly. And I carry it with me even today. The quote is, "We need to convert Nietzsche's courage in the face of reality into the courage in the face of an opportunity."
Yeah, that's a nice one. Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you so much, Konstantin. And thank you, dear participants, for attending our session today. If you have any feedback or questions, leave us a comment or drop us an email at amplifyagile@aptio.com. We'll address your questions in direct answers, or maybe even create a new episode based on your questions. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.